Ok, esta es la sesión de los hombres esclavos, se llaman Dungeon. Tenemos que ir, él dice que es sleeping y tenemos que ir bien suave, que no me vaya yo a reventar. Oh my God. Ah. Ok, yeah. Don't worry, I go slow, I'm scared. Okay, I go slow. Miren esto. Estamos yendo. Tenemos que ir suave, mis amores. Yeah. Okay, right here. A mi amor, esto está oscurito.
This is the meal dungeon. We need to know where we are right now before we start at all. I officially welcome you all to People's Castle. Now, the meal dungeon we are right now has 5 chambers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in each one of the chambers were 200 enslaved African men.
Wow.
You know, it was in the dungeon that the African men dedicated. This is where he slept. The conditions here were very bad, very poor. On top of the meal dungeon, the English built a church you call Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. So they were worshiping God on top of 1,000 African men. Wow. Now there are 3 castles in Ghana. Elimina Castle was erected by the Portuguese in 1482. It is the oldest of them all in the whole of Ghana. Usu Castle was established by the Dutch in 1661. Cape's Castle was built by the British in 1665. This is the youngest enslaved castle. This is the youngest enslaved castle in the whole of West Africa. The first Europeans to come here to Ghana were the Portuguese. The Portuguese came here in the year 1471. That is when they built Elimina Castle. And the Portuguese for over 100 years did not actually transport Africans to the Americas until 1493, when this man called Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas. And when that man discovered the Americas, the Europeans realized that they could cultivate sugarcane on that part of the world to produce their own sugar. So they were using the natives there as cheap laborers. Wow. Because the natives were not resilient enough, and because Europeans introduced many diseases, they were dying. There was one man we called Puertorriqueña. He was a priest, a Spanish priest. He was trying to preach the gospel to the Native Americans. He later realized that they were dying. So he started protecting them against the Europeans. But this man did something that changed Africa for so many centuries. He introduced the Africans to the Europeans, that the Africans are very strong people. So Europeans should come for Africans rather than using the Native Americans as cheap laborers. That is how all the Europeans started coming to West Africa. Now the enslaved Africans that were brought to the dungeons were not only from Ghana, they were kidnapped by some Africans from Mali, Burkina Faso, the Ivory Coast. They walked here. All those Africans who got tired, who couldn't walk any longer, were never freed. Instead, they tied them to trees to die slowly and painfully, or left to be killed by wild animals, like lions, leopards, and many more. This is where they ended up. This is where they were kept until the slave ships came to take them to the new dungeon. Like I was saying, has 5 chambers. You see that over there? This is one of the chambers. In this chamber were 200 African men. 200 each one of them. Wow. There was a wide spread of diseases like malaria, cholera, diarrhea. The conditions were very bad, very poor. I'm going to show you something that is really going to change your lives. Please come close. One last thing before you. Now look at the floor. Look carefully. Can you see the bricks in the first chamber? Do you see the trench? Yes. This is where the feces and urine will pass through to the ocean. Wow. You see the bricks there? Now the bricks you see is not original. The bricks is original. This floor is not original. You know, the enslaved African men in the meal dungeon defecated here. This is where they slept. This is where many of them lived. Slavery lasted over 250 years. because the African men were dying, eating, bleeding, vomiting here with fire. There was a decomposition of feces, urine, DNA of people that eventually covered the bricks. And this is what you see all over, that dark floor you see. Now, you see the floor there, the bricks? Yeah. That floor was excavated by archaeologists from Segunda. And after the excavation, this part of the dungeon was kept as evidence. You can have a look for just 5 seconds before we move to the last chamber.
Okay, we're gonna go here to look. Wow. Okay. Esto que está aquí es donde ellos orinaban y todo el orín, toda la excreta iba por aquí y iba a llegar al mar. Okay. Aquí tenían, en este cuartito solamente tenían 200 esclavos o 200 personas, ¿verdad? Ahí están poniendo la luz. Ahí están. Vamos a coger, miren esto. ¿Son esto que está aquí? Wow. Ahí está. Quizás no tenemos mucha luz aquí, pero pueden ver los 3 huecos ahí. Y realmente es increíble. Donde está comiendo, miren eso. Eso que está por ahí, donde iba el orín. Eso iba el orín, la excreta por ahí. Y iba directamente a lo que era la playa. Ok. Aquí todo esto es original, ¿sabes? Esto no es que... Vamos por aquí, vamos a ir mirando por aquí. Vamos a ir al otro lado. Donde, miren esto. El orín iba por aquí. Miren esto. Babe, don't forget to bring that, please. Miren, este es otro cuarto. Son 5 cuartos. Esto es otro. Vamos a ir por aquí. Voy a ir por aquí mirando poco a poco. Porque esto aquí realmente es escalofriante, mis amores. Ok, ahora vamos a ir donde hay luz.
Okay.
Before what I am standing lies a shrine. This is an altar, and this altar represents the African traditional religion or the African traditional spirituality. Now, this shrine is not part of the dungeon system. The shrine was established here after the abolishment of the transatlantic slave trade. There used to be a very big tunnel at the time of the slave trade. There used to be a very big tunnel, a very big passage, where all the 1,000 African men in the male dungeon were forced to walk through to the door called the door of no return. Wow. Now, this tunnel got sealed off to officially abolish the transatlantic slave trade. Now, you see that chamber there? All the African women who got blinded, sick.
And what is that?
This is part of this
Okay.
the shrine. There's a priest, a traditional priest.
Oh, okay.
Priest. So when visitors come and they want to know more about the shrine, that is where they sit. Yeah. Those African men who got sick and blind were kept till they died.
Sorry, sir, I have one question, please. What do they do when they worship in the shrine?
Yeah, they did worship God through the shrine. And in Kipros, there are 77 shrines. This is the head. This one is called an altar. Our sisters worship God through this. You know, before the Europeans introduced Christianity to Africa, this is what we follow traditional Christianity. The race you see there were not by African Americans and other African diasporans to pay respect to the ancestors who died here. Yeah, you can go to the first one. Yes, yes.
Wow. This is horrible. And we still say, may our soul rest in perfect peace. Here is that.
Yeah, what is that?
And here is where they kept the female, the blind, and those who fall sick by force.
Wow. Aquí en este cuartito tenemos a los ciegos y a las mujeres. Okay. Vamos ahora para la otra sección.
Punishment cell. Now, we've already seen the male punishment cell.
Yes.
The only difference between the male punishment cell and the female punishment cell is this window. Those chambers you see are the female dungeons. In each one of them, we are as many as 250 African women. All the African women in the female dungeon were being sexually abused by the English officials. Now, all those African women who did not allow themselves to be sexually abused, those who tried to fight back, will continue to be punished. Not less than 12 African women were here at the time. There was a door here. The British closed the door. The African women were here for not less than 7 days. This place was hell because it was in this cell that the African women menstruated, defecated, and slept. This wasn't good at all. Now, many women got very tired. This is what they did. They would come closer to the window and wave the English soldiers to notify them that something is going on. They needed some food and water to eat and drink. And the moment an English soldier sees that, you just get closer to the door, open the door, bring the woman out, give her food and water to eat and drink. After she's done eating and drinking, they will then abuse the sexuality and take her back to the female conscience. So this is a kind of manipulative cell.
What is that, a big hole there?
It's part of the drainage system.
Oh, okay. Look at this. Look at this. Aquaba. Female slave. Look at this. Female slave.
Now, this is the female dungeon. There are 2 female dungeons. The other female dungeon is right there, in this one. In each female dungeon, we have as many as 250 African women.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
250. We're also teenagers in the female dungeon. 12 years, 14, 15 years, we're also here. The conditions here were very bad, very poor. The only source of light on earth of them were 1, 2, 3. Mosquitoes came here. There was a wide spread of diseases like cholera, diarrhea, malaria, cancer. You know, the women had rashes all over their bodies. Some of them were blinded and very sick and very ill. Above all of that, the English soldiers will walk through the doors and sexually abuse the African women. Because of that, many African women got pregnant in the female dungeon. All the African women who were identified as soon as possible as pregnant women were taken outside the state castle to give birth. After the African women had given birth, the English soldiers allowed them to nurse the children to some ages, 4 or 5 years old. And those children were educated by their British fathers, and they were given names not of an African origin. They were given names like Johnson, Wilson, Peterson, Blackson, and many more. Those children were biracial children. Their fathers gave them education. They were the very people who became interpreters, slave traders, slave manipulators, architects, lawyers, judges, and many more here in Cape Castle. And those mothers, many of them were brought back to the dungeons as enslaved African women. However, there were few of them who were being regarded as wench. Wench means a prostitute. The British kept them outside the castle to be prostitutes, or to be their prostitutes.
In other words, you get money for them.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
These races were brought by African Americans, Jamaicans, and other Caribbeans, Black Europeans, to pay respect to the ancestors who died here. Please come. Now this is the
I'm sorry.
no problem. It's a fly. Aromatic shells, oyster shells, stones, rocks, sand, and mix all of that. You know, this is not cement. Oh, you can come and have a look.
So, sir, please, was this built by the African?
They use the Africans to build in the castle.
Wow.
But people they didn't work. I don't know where they did it.
Just imagine using the people to build.
We
all
know
the-
to look at that.
They use the sea rock, those rocks in the sea.
Now, this tunnel, we're in the tunnel, and this is how the tunnel looks like. From where we are, we were supposed to be seeing the middle dungeon. You know, the reason why we can't see the middle dungeon is because the tunnel called seal or locked. Now, this part of the tunnel used to be a door we call the door of no return. The original door of no return was a very small door like this. We call this door the door of no return because whoever that go through this door will come back. And this door got a seal door because the sea waves were very violent. You know, when you went out, you see how violent the sea was. So this one got seal door. And after this door of no return got a seal door, that was not the end. Another door was right there. That is what I'm thinking. Wow. Now we are done with the male part of the history. You've seen the male dungeon, the tunnel, the door, the male punishment cell, the male dungeon. Now I'm going to take you to the female part of the history. So,
Thank you.
reveals that Obama was here. It was unveiled by Barack Obama, July 2009. Barack Obama and his
Michelle.
wife
Yeah.
came here to pay a visit to the ancestors. Michelle Obama believed that her ancestors came through this place. So they came here to pay respect to the ancestors, July 2009. Do you remember I said there was a church on top of the dungeon? Yes. Yeah, this is a church, the first Anglican church, Church of England,
Wow.
right on top of enslaved people. You never came. Wow. And lies the grave of a black man. The other three graves are for British. Now this black man is called Philip Kwaku. His father used to work here for the slave traders. Because of that, when his son Philip Kwaku was 11 years old, the English transported Philip Kwaku to London to study theology. Philip Kwaku became the first African to be ordained as an Anglican priest in London. He became a priest in the church on top of the dungeon. Philip Kwaku promoted Christianity in the Western form of education. He was born in 1741. He died in 1816 at the age of 75. Now there's three graves. The first one is for a British lawyer by the name C.B. Whitehead. He died at the age of 38 in 1812. The cause of his death is not known to us. Now these two graves is for a couple, the husband and his wife. The husband is called Captain George McLean. McLean used to be the governor here in the castle from 1830 until 1844. He was the same person who built the first British Court of Justice up there, McLean's Hall. That was the first British Court of Justice in Ghana until 1877, when the capital city was relocated to Accra. He also sealed off the tunnel in the male dungeon to officially abolish the transatlantic slave trade. Captain George McLean died of malaria at the age of 46. His wife is called Letitia Elizabeth Landon. She died mysteriously. She was found dead in the husband's bedroom. There are historians who claim that Letitia committed suicide after she found out that her husband was having an affair with a black woman. There are others who also claim that it was the African mistress of her husband who poisoned her. It's very debatable as to what actually killed her.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, let me show you the punishment cell of the men. So it's over 250 years. It's one of the original doors here in the castle. Original, over about 250 years. Now this cell is called the male punishment cell. We have already been to the male dungeon.
Yes.
Now the African men in the male dungeon who tried to fight back for their freedom and rights were brought to this small cell. They were denied of food, air, light, and water. They were here until they were all dead. So I'm going to show you. Please be very mindful of your head.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, guys.
African Genesis Institute. Wow, look at it.
Okay.
You have to go down because it's really.
Now, this is how the male dungeon looks like. There are no windows. When you look carefully, there are no windows here. This is where all the African men in the male dungeon who tried to fight back for their freedom and right were brought. They were denied of food, air, light, and water. They were here till they died. Not less than 15 African men were brought here. After all of them died, the English soldiers would then bring the rest of the men in the male dungeon on the courtyard to observe them down the bodies of those who died here in the ocean.
Wow.
To instill fear in them. To keep them down.
So that they can fight
They
it
can
back.
fight back. Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Please be very mindful of your hands. Place is called the bathroom, and let me show you the tunnel. Please, let me show you the tunnel. We have to see the tunnel. The cannonballs and cannons you see were brought by the British soldiers because of gold. You know, the British kept a lot of gold here. Because of gold, other Europeans like the French, the Swedish, the Portuguese, they were all interested in taking over the castle from the British. And the British, knowing that, brought the cannonballs and the cannons as defensive tools. Anytime they saw other Europeans coming closer with their ships, they quickly placed the balls inside the cannons and fired them with pressure. These balls would just go through, so go very far away from here, and hit the target coming closer.
Wow.
And because of this cannonball, the cannonballs and the cannons, the castle was well protected. Now this is the tunnel. This is the tunnel. Now when you look at the tunnel is very wide and it's very deep. Very wide and very deep. Now please, can you put your nose masks on? Because I'm not going to put mine on. Now it's very wide and very deep. And the tunnel begins right, right, yes, right.
They go through here to there.
No, where we came from, the male dungeon.
Okay.
So they go through that place like this.
Oh, okay.
We're on top of the tunnel.
Oh, okay.
The tunnel starts in the last chamber of the male dungeon. This is the middle point of the tunnel. And that's the end point of the tunnel lies there. I'm going to take you there. Now this part of the tunnel is not where the African men came up from. Now one of the reasons why the English officials never allowed the African men through this courtyard was because they were afraid of them. So they would rather keep them through the tunnel to the door of no return. Now this part of the tunnel is where the English soldiers will stand and look at them and urge them, go! All the African men who refused to walk through were being killed in the head.
Wow.
Let me show you the end point.
Maybe give me that.
It's another security post where the English soldiers will stand and urge the African men to walk through to the door of no return. Now I'm going to let you have a look. Let you take a step. You watch your head, you take a step. You have a look and you come out. The tunnel is very deep. Just take a step.
You go, honey. It's okay.
If you get there, I don't know how you get you back. Because the tunnel has been sealed off spontaneously. Yeah, walls.
I want to take you to it from me. Really deep, right?
I'm gonna do like him.
Hell no.
I'm gonna do like him. No. Take picture, babe.
Now, this is the door Florida. The original door was like this. Very small like this. We call this door the door Florida because this was the final exit of all these enslaved African people. You know what the British did? They had the big slave ships that transported all the African people from this angle to the Americas. The big slave ships were about 250 meters away from here. At that time, the ocean was a bit far to be able to see right now. It wasn't closer to the slave castle. So they had the big slave ships right there. They would put the African men, the women, the teenagers onto smaller boats and transport them to the bigger ones until all these slave African people were onto the slave ships. And then the journey would begin. The journey from this angle to the Americas took them 4 months or more. Many slave Africans committed suicide because the conditions were very poor. It was a curse for an African woman to get pregnant because of the treatment that was given to them. Many African women did fight back for their freedom and rights. However, all those who did fight back were being killed by the English soldiers. In a moment, about 3 or 4 of them were being shot dead instantly. Every one of them became submissive and afraid. About 46% of all enslaved African people who got transported from the shores of the West African region to the Americas were being transported by the Portuguese. And Portuguese normally transported Africans to Brazil. That is why Brazil has a very large population of African people. Today, we are going to walk through a door, many walk through, and they never came back. Today, we are going to walk through a door, many walk through, and the only thing they could do was to look back. Looking back without seeing, without coming back is very painful. Please come with me. Now, before what you are standing lies a significant door. We call the door of return. Can you see it? Now, this door was introduced in 1998. It is not part of the original structure of the slave castle. This one was established in 1998 as part of a historical festival we call Panafest and Emancipation. Before this door was introduced, there were skeletons of 2 people. We call these 2 people Samuel Castle and Madame Crystal. They were enslaved Africans who got transported to the Americas. One was taken to Jamaica and the other to New York. They died and they were buried there. In 1998, their skeletons were placed in 2 different caskets and brought all the way from Jamaica and New York to Accra. From Accra to a community we call Abanzi. And from Abanzi, they intentionally brought them across the Atlantic Ocean through the door of return. This is a symbolic movement. This is to tell African Americans and other African diasporas that they can come back to their origin. Cape Coast, Ghana, West Africa. That is why when you walk through this door, there is a flag that states Akwaba. And Akwaba means you are one day one. Now I'm going to give you a few minutes. If you have no questions, take your time. There is water. If you want anything, you can get it. Then you can go over there, take your time, take some pictures before I show you the living rooms of the gathering. After that, we will be done with our tour today.
Okay.
So just take your time and chill.
Look at this. I love this.
Yeah, this is just for decorations. Yeah, this one you can just, if you have a minor flower to grow in your house, yeah, you can just put some sun in it, just minor ones. It beautifies the environment. This one, if you have some original chains, yeah, you can just make a hole out of it, put a chain and put it in there.
Wow, look at this. Miren esto, mis amores. Estábamos arriba, ahorita le enseñé de arriba, ahora le enseño directamente desde abajo. Miren esto. Aquí podemos ver las escaleras. Miren esa señora por ahí viene. Ellos están bañando, los nenes están bañando wow. Ah, que el nene se puede bañar, yo me puedo bañar ahí también. Yo no sé nadar, pero right, babe? We can. We can come back, right?
Yeah, when we finish.
Yeah. Okay. Because I want to buy some water later. Okay.
Take you to the living rooms of the garden so you can conceptualize.
Welcome.
What you mean governors? Mean the white, the British governor, British governor, not the Ghanaian governor. No Ghanaian.
No, I understand. As in the British governor, like the slave masters.
Yes.
Yes.
And before you even become a governor, you have to pay 10,000 pounds sterling to a queen. Before you become a governor here.
Because a lot of business comes on goes on here. You make a lot of
Yeah.
the gold and
The gold,
women and stuff like that. Exactly.
and those men, they were working for them and all that.
Yeah.
The governor system is very
Oh, Africa. Oh. Those here is the governments.
Wow. Oh. Look at it. Estoy tan cansada. Miren esto.
This is the living room of the governor. And the living room of the governor has 9 rooms. That's the bedroom of the governor. The bedroom of the governor has 5 rooms. Can you feel it? Can you feel the air?
Yeah.
Yes.
You have a good air here.
So after the tour, you intentionally bring me here to
Wow.
find out the truth.
Look at this. Fresh air.
They keep the blocks here.
Wow, I can't believe this.
Yes, when they take a fresh air.
I know,
Your bedroom here.
especially in the night. Wow. Estoy en la ventana de donde estaban los grandes. Miren eso. Eso es donde el excremento se iba. ¿Ustedes ven eso ahí? El excremento iba a la playa. Y el orín. Voy a preguntar. Como yo les dije. Wow. Ahora ya. My husband there. Ok. Miren cómo estoy de sudar. Miren cómo estoy de sudar. Esto es increíble. Yo he subido no sé cuántas escaleras. Y estoy súper sudada. Esta ha sido una jornada grande. Where we going? Where's the guy? Hello?
Right here.
Where are you? Wow, there. Oh, okay. We go to this side. Yo estaba perdida. Yo digo, ¿dónde está el hombre?
Take your finger.
Yeah, I know. I see my finger in there. Bueno, vamos.
Section area.
Esta es la sección, la otra sección. Miren esto. Vamos a ir bajando ahora. Ok, mis amores, voy bajando.
Be careful.
Oh, quítanos ahorita nosotros.
You see, there's a lot of route. You cannot even run to go anywhere. Because you pass here and they cut you here.
No, it's not original. This was the church actually, but this is not original. You know, the flag that you placed this on. You know, when we were going to the building, I said, that is not original. But it became a library after the slave trade was abolished. Long time ago. Many years after the abolition. We have made it into a library to allow visitors to donate books. And the books that we got here, about 90% of them were donated by the visitors who come here. So we allow them, the children here, books to come and read. Yeah, but because of the pandemic, it's closed.
Yeah.
We allow.
Can I just view too?
Oh, you can. Why not? You can just come and have a look.
Well, maybe you can go to take a picture and come.
Wow.
Comment about where you're going to come. Voy a decir algo, mi marido dice, yo vengo porque si yo no quiero comprar, yo no tengo que comprar. De la montaña venimos para invitarlo. Mi marido dice, miren esto es ay, se me olvidó esto. Lo tienen grande, tienen chiquito, aquí miren. Él dice, esta está rota, pero... Así que, no, amores, nos vemos porque no voy a comprar, mi marido me está mirando. Ay, ¿tú no vas a comprar? Por si quieren venir por aquí y ver todo esto por aquí. Miren esto. That's Chinese.
You call everything Chinese.
Excuse me, this is not African. Hello. That's not African, that's Chinese. And this is too. This is a Chinese when they're gonna take the rice. And this is African. Of course, I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh, this is from Africa. This is from North US.
Yeah, but they made the original one. You know, the Chinese people working the rice, and they use that.
I see.
Yeah. And they bring it here. Look at my hand.